Hello and welcome back to the channel. This video is going to be all about Book 4 of Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation. So in my review of Book 3, I said that it was a bit slower pace, a lot of background information, and I will be honest, I was getting a bit bored with the book. It was not really gripping me, and Heaven Official's Blessing had the same issue with an entire book, was a lot of just like back end information that was important, I will admit that fully, but it was not gripping me with the action, excitement, progression that I needed. But this one did all of that and more. It progressed so many things. It progressed the story, multiple relationships. It was well worth the wait. It was well worth the wait. So to start off, we get immediately just the continuation of the second siege of the Burial Mound and the incredibly tense time of not one but two waves of fierce corpses coming at everyone, and just the tension of, do they trust each other? You have the issues with people not trusting Wei Wuxian because they've come to literally murder him, and now people don't know if they can trust Lan Wangji because he's siding with Wei Wuxian. And then you have, I'm sorry, I don't know how to actually pronounce his name, but it's written like sushi, so I just call him Sushi in my head. Do they trust him because he is a previous part of the Lan clan, and now he has gone and made his own and is still using their music techniques, and now is getting like accusations of being the one to cause everyone to lose their spiritual power? Like, there's so much tension, so much just unknown information in that cave for however long it takes to defeat two waves of fierce corpses, and then we have Lan Wangji having to protect Wei Wuxian because he is sacrificing himself yet again. And of course you have the continued tension between Jinling and his uncle because Jiang Cheng can't deal with his nephew doing anything to put him in danger. I get it, but you stopping him is not going to actually stop him. So I feel like that being the first part of this book really sets up the mood and the trajectory of the rest of it, because it never really slows down. This book is full of angst and tension, and the tension that shouldn't really go with angst, and it goes over there. But I was not expecting, once everything is done, the children are just so on Wei Wuxian's side. They actually are like, thank you, Wen Ning, for helping save us. The kids, they can put their like pride aside and say, these people who we didn't like and were fighting against, they helped save our lives. So we are going to show our appreciation for them because they saved our lives. But the adults, no, they can't do that. They won't dare grovel. Like, I don't know. It's such a weird pride thing that I guess in the cultivation realm makes sense. They wanted to kill Wei Wuxian, and so they're not going to thank him. But I was actually not really expecting Wei Wuxian to be able to enter Lotus Pier once they returned. Like, I can see him letting Lan Wangji in because highly respected Lan cultivator, but I'm very surprised that they let Wei Wuxian in. I'm not surprised that they didn't let Wen Ning in. Poor guy. He's such a good guy. I feel so bad for him. I like him so much. But like, there's all this tension, and then we get just this cute little walk through the park type mini date with Wei Wuxian and Lan Wangji, as Wei Wuxian's like taking him out and showing him, here's the food stalls, here's this tree that I jumped in, here's where I fought a kid. And it's just so sweet, and like, there's no anxiety about who's gonna die next or what fight they need to get to next week. It's just nice and sweet, and the reprieve is not long lasting, but at least it's there. So I did like that. That seemed like a very big turning point in their relationship dynamic. It seemed like there was less awkward, suspecting tension. So that was nice to read about. And then Wei Wuxian coming back to Lotus Pier, seeing that a lot of the buildings have been remodeled and the old ones torn down, the way that he has become more and more framed as a normal human throughout the series really just pops out here, because he's experiencing in real time the loss of these core buildings of his childhood, where his home was. He takes Lan Wangji into the ancestral home to pay respects to his adoptive parents. And you can really see this human feeling that he is going through as he pays his respects to them and as he talks to them in hopes to help progress his relationship with Lan Wangji. And that is about as long as the reprieve from tension gets, because of course Jiang Chen has to jump in and destroy everything, even though nothing bad was happening. Of course, he still blames Wei Wuxian for the death of his parents, even though I don't think he was the main antagonist of this. No one was fighting back against the Wens, and he was not going to let an innocent person die. And he was also not even the first one to instigate the rebellion against the Wens during their time in the re-education camp. So I do think his grief for the painful loss of his parents does overshadow that a bit. And the weird just aggression he has towards the relationship that Wei Wuxian has with Lan Wangji is a bit weird. Like, I guess I can see it from the connection of, you killed my parents by saving this guy and now you bring him here. That is the only connection that I can think of, and the only plausible one to why he would get so aggravated at it. But that entire spiel and the fight and just the unleashing of decades old emotions, like, I don't think that they're going to reconcile. I want them to very badly reconcile, especially, like, they've been through a lot together, but I think that there's just too much between them for them to actually come to terms with everything and reconcile as friends. And that does make me a bit sad. This book pretty much cemented that feeling for me. But one of the most shocking events happens here too, with the reveal that Wei Wuxian is the only reason that Jiang Chen can be who he is today, because he gave up his golden core for him. Reading about that was so painful, especially knowing where they are today. The fact that Wei Wuxian, unmedicated, had his golden core cut out, and he did that knowing that he would never be able to cultivate the normal path again, and there was only theoretically a 50% chance of it actually working, and he took that because he knew how important being able to cultivate was to his friend, only for everything to go wrong. And it hits harder knowing that, and then thinking back to Wei Wuxian on the Burial Mound, wishing that he could take a different path, because he truly is stuck on this path. This is the only way that he can have any type of power. And you also get the realization that he wasn't being egotistical or cocky by not bringing his sword around. If he did, people would want to fight him, and it would quickly be discovered that he has no spiritual power. So that was a huge emotional blow, and I was not expecting that. I did not think anything of the golden core rejuvenation. I did not see that coming at all. I am actually very proud of Lan Wangji for being able to be in such close proximity to where they're both in the same boat with Wenning. I was not expecting that to be able to happen. But the rest of this book is just filled with, like, tension and anguish as they're trying to both figure out how to take out this mastermind behind all this evil happening, and also get 𝕚𝕟𝕟𝕟's brother out of there, because he's still missing. And he's still, like, what they said, in the clutches of 𝕟𝕟𝕟𝕟. Like, you still have all of these issues remaining, and there's only one book left in it to get resolved. And it ends with a drunken escapade between the two, and the worst outcome you could possibly think of happening, to leave it on this, like, terrible kind of cliffhanger. Like, at first, through the drunken escapade, they're going around having fun. 𝕚𝕟𝕟𝕟's stealing chickens, and, like, he seemed, like, angry throughout most of it, and, like, grumpy, and you know that it stems from the fight with Jiang Chen and everything that was said there, the dismissal of any type of relationship between him and Wei Wuxian. But then once they get back to the room, after everything is done and they sober up, just the absolute anguish that I felt, because it's just simply a lack of proper communication. It is incredibly frustrating, because you know that they are both thinking the exact same thing. And I also know, based on the end of this, that Wei Wuxian's just going to go and get into a lot of trouble in book 5. And so I know that there's probably going to be more anguish tied into this, more trouble. There's only one more book left. I need at least these two to make nice. I've given up on Wei Wuxian and Jiang Chen reconciling and fixing their broken relationship as friends. I have given up. But I at least need these two to make nice. They have to. They're the main characters here. But I just don't know exactly how that is going to come about yet. So this was certainly a very messy volume. Not in terms of writing. The writing was excellent. But in terms of what's happening and the characters' behavior. Sometimes I want to smack Wei Wuxian. Sometimes I want to smack 𝕚𝕟𝕟𝕟. Sometimes I want to smack them both. And that feeling has not been exemplified any more so than while reading this book. This book, I probably read it over the span of maybe 4 days total, because so much was going on. And I also am scared to start the 5th book, because that leaves, like, what, probably about, on average, 300 pages to resolve all of this stuff. They have not found 𝕚𝕟𝕟𝕟's brother. They have no idea where 𝕟𝕟𝕟𝕟 is. They have no idea how to stop the 𝕚𝕟𝕟 tally, let's be honest. Wei Wuxian has no idea how to go against that thing. They have no idea who else is working with 𝕟𝕟𝕟𝕟. The Su clan was, or at least the head of the Su clan was. Who else is working with him? What other terrible events are going to happen leading up to this final battle that they need to have? There are so many things that I need answers to, but I'm scared to get answers to. So this book has put me on the edge of a cliff that I am scared to fall off of into the water to finish this story. This is basically framing my attention for this story the same way that book 7 for Heaven Official's Blessing did. It's a very good place to be. Full of tension, full of just questions, trying to figure out in my head where it's going. But I honestly, for this one, in my last series, I could kind of guess what was happening. In this one, I have no idea. I'm going to start book 5 at some point, hopefully today, and figure out what the hell happens with these two, because I have no idea. Neither of them talk. Especially 𝕚𝕟𝕟𝕟. You gotta get the man drunk to actually talk. So yeah, that was my review of this great volume. Mentally destroyed me. And now I have to read the 5th and final book. And hope that everything wraps up together with a nice little bow. So, if you have read through the 4th book, leave a comment. Did it also destroy you? This was the hardest hitting book for me in the entire series so far. Leave your thoughts on it down below. But yes, thank you for everyone who watched this video. I do appreciate it. Leave a like if you thought I did a good job. And if you like videos about danmei, manga, anime, stuff like that, take a look at the channel and see if you want to subscribe. But thank you for everyone who watched it, no matter what you plan to do. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Bye guys.